In the summer of 2020, 3 Scottish young men went missing in the search for the perfect movies. A year later their footage was found. This is the Shaky podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Shaky podcast. I'm Steve, and once again I'm joined by Joe.
Hello.
And Christopher.
Hello.
It's another week, another a month. I don't know when the last one came out, but
I've lost track already. I have no idea.
We're still locked down. We're still spending the time playing video games and watching movies, so we may as well talk about them. How are you guys getting on in the lockdown lifestyle?
Just as you summed up, working away, watching films, playing a wee bit of video games. Nothing too exciting.
Same. I'm still doing the same shift pattern that I always have and all the rest of it, so it's more just when I'm off that things have changed, like getting to see family and stuff like that, but it's good. We're making it work.
I'm the only one that I've not. My work's closed, so I've been doing nothing. I redecorated my room, but now that's done, so I now have no purpose in life. But to watch movies, so.
I'm about to go off for 3 weeks, so I was meant to be going on holiday, which isn't happening, but I've still got my time off, so there'll be a hell of a lot of movie viewing, I guess.
Exactly.
I'm conflicted because obviously it'll be nice, but at the same time, oh my god, that's a long time to just be kicking back.
Aye, man. I found at the start. Well, actually, I still find that the odd day I'll get pure bored and it'll pass really slowly, but most of the time I'm just doing stuff I want to do. I'm just playing video games and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a lack of other human contact that's getting to us, I think.
Aye, man. It's not so bad when we play Xbox and stuff, so we've got can talk to folk on mic chat and that, but my girlfriend doesn't she doesn't play Xbox, you know what I mean? So it's
yeah.
Folk who don't do stuff like that or aren't into that kind of thing. They don't really have that unless they're phoning people and stuff. But I don't know, it's different. I don't know. It's fine. It will be out soon, hopefully. Phase 1 started today, so you can go see someone you know as long as you are outside and stay away from them.
You can yell at someone you know.
Yeah, you can be you can have the same conversation you would have on the phone or on FaceTime.
Aye.
Right, so this is the third episode that we've been in lockdown, and again, same kind of format. We're just gonna talk about some movies we've been watching. I think a bit more structure to it this week. I think you guys have both been kind of watching specific stuff.
Yes.
You want to talk about, and then we're also going to talk about the new Netflix movie, The Lovebirds, at the end. I've got a couple of things that I really want to talk about as well, so let's just get cracking.
Awesome.
Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. I've went first the first couple of times, and then it usually ends up me talking constantly for an hour. But whether you want to subject the public to that or not, it's up to you as the host.
Chris, if you want to go
I was going to say, because
then,
I can probably chime in with a lot of what Joe wants to talk about, so that might be a good ending point.
Cool. Can I just give my standard sound nerd disclaimer of we're totally going to interrupt each other. There will absolutely be background noise. We are recording on the built-in microphones on iPads and stuff like that. It's not ideal. We're making it work, and having listened to the podcast, I'm pretty happy with how they sound, to be honest. Given the circumstances, but aye, like I said, there will totally be bits where we'll awkwardly talk over each other because there's like delay on the chat we're on and things like that, and it's all kind of pretty unavoidable. But we're doing our best. I can hear some like kids playing outside out the flat, out the front of the flat and stuff like that. And if you hear it, I'm sorry, but what you meant to do.
If you don't like it, you can get it out.
Get it out.
Aye, Chris, if you want to jump in, man, fire away.
Right, a couple of small things that I watched. First, I'll get them out of the way. Mostly, again, I stuck to horror films. I do actually watch normal mainstream films, just not in the last couple of weeks. So
That's not true. But
yeah, it's not true. I lied. First one I watched was a new zombie film called Blood Quantum. A new Shudder original. Trailer looked really good. It popped up as a YouTube advert, so I thought I would give it a go. And I watched the first 15 minutes, and I was really enjoying it actually. I thought this might be something a wee bit different. Ended up having to turn it off because I was busy. I went back to watch the rest of it, and I was severely disappointed with it, to be honest.
what?
Kind of felt
Sucks.
like an extended TV. It's felt like an extended TV episode of like The Walking Dead or Z Nation or something like that. It didn't really go anywhere. There was a lot of characters that came in it that you thought, alright, these guys are the main characters, and then they were disappearing after like 10 minutes. The kind of structure to the film was really bizarre. Like, it looks like there was like different groups of characters that would all set off their own stories, but then nothing ever happens.
I get what you mean.
But it mainly follows the kind of sheriff of the town, so you have kind of heard the story quite a few times, and the zombie virus takes over the town, and some are immune, some aren't, and it's all of a part of surviving, but kind of quite boring, quite fast. A lot of practical effects, which were quite good for the budget of the film, but unfortunately this is one I'm not going to recommend if you do come across it.
We don't do that very often, to be fair. As a respected film media outlet, with a whole 2 podcast episodes, we have a pretty low bar. So
Just
I mean,
wait till-
it's
just wait.
it's watchable. It's just I think you would get excited from the first 15 minutes and then just be disappointed after that. Is the best way to
Aye.
describe it.
it's a shame.
That's the thing with movies like that, man. Like, you never know. Like, there's every chance it could have been. It could have been like the pilot to a TV show. Like, it could have been like a TV movie or something.
Yeah.
That like they've then been like, we're not going to make a TV show out of this, so let's just make a bunch of stuff, and then stuff like that happens quite a lot. So I think we're going to see a lot of zombie movies because of what's happening right now in the world.
Aye.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be the next trend. Like, so, I mean, I'm still kind of sick of zombies from the last time they were like all the rage.
Yeah, there was a lot like 5-6 years ago. A lot.
Aye, like everything kind of started with like The Walking Dead becoming popular, and then like as The Walking Dead has gotten progressively worse as a TV show.
Bless me, sorry.
Obviously, there's still some good stuff. Like, there's still some stuff I'm excited for, like the Train to Busan sequel or prequel, however it is.
Oh no, man.
There's that one as
there's a
well
lot-
that I've spoke to you about. It Stains of Sans Red. I mean, that's got a different
Yeah.
concept. It's one person versus one zombie for the full film, and it works.
It's good, but it's a good genre for people who want to do something different.
Aye, there's a lot of creative space to work in.
But when you see that stuff and then you go and see something that's just pure like bang average zombie movie, you're like, right, nah,
Aye.
we've had this 1,000 times. So
Aye. Even the start of The Walking Dead, it starts with the same opening sequence as 28 Days Later.
aye, exactly.
It's almost it's almost shot for shot actually, apart from it's in a different country. But aye, so that was that one over and done with. I watched a mini series on Shudder as well, which was just 3 20-minute episodes called Blood Machines, which I've seen a
Right.
lot of adverts for again on YouTube. was done by a guy called Seth Ickerman. Now, I kind of looked him up and I couldn't see anything else that he'd done, but when I was looking up Blood Machines, everyone was talking about this is Seth Ickerman's new project, so I don't know if he's got some sort of online presence
Maybe like a.
or whatnot. So, did a wee bit of research. It was a Kickstarter that was trying to raise 50,000 and it got, I think it was 120,000, so it was well funded.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of set in space about these kind of spacecrafts which are half alive, half robot. And it kind of goes into this sort of like a witchcraft thing about trying to free the souls of the machines. Very, very trippy. It's very sort of neon, sort of, I would probably say LSD inspired visuals. Looks absolutely sensational. Acting's very, very bad. It's obviously, like I said, an indie product, but it's one of the best looking low budget things I've ever seen, to be honest. It was a visual, I would say, masterpiece, to be honest. Quite cool if you've got a spare hour to check it out. Story's quite vague, but there's a lot of good sort of like art house, sort of metaphoric drama that goes on in it.
It sounds cool, man.
Nothing that I would say go out your way and watch this, but it's definitely something, especially if you're into your visual effects and whatnot, it's something different. Very kind of, it's almost like an extreme Thor Ragnarok style without the comedy, is the best way to describe it.
Like like the kind of colours and stuff.
Aye.
Right.
Kind of
That sounds
severe use
really
of
cool.
neon and whatnot. It's very, very cool. But I wanted to give that a shout out because I did enjoy it and I wasn't really expecting what came from it. It was a French-made film, but it is all English spoken. I think that's maybe where the bad acting comes from, because there's a lot of French people trying to put on American accents and it's not really working. But
Aye. My voice keeps breaking, man, every time I go to talk. Aye, that's like fair enough. Like, what you gotta do?
aye,
Like, folk don't watch stuff if it's subtitled or dubbed, so like, that's kind of on us.
aye.
I can go subtitled. I don't mind subtitled.
Oh no, I don't mind that, but for kind
I
of,
don't mind it, but generally, I think a lot of folk avoid
I mean,
that.
some of the best films I've watched this year, with I think I've spoken about them on here, with The Platform and The Host and even Parasite at the start of the year, are up there with my top movies of the year so far. So
Yeah.
right, I'll go on to the kind of main things I watched. First two films were the original hit movie Leprechaun, and its most recent sequel, Leprechaun Returns. Leprechaun Returns is the same as the sort of Halloween latest one, where it just discards all the previous sequels and just does a direct sequel to the first film.
Is that the WWE one?
No,
No. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, that was Origins, wasn't it?
Origins, aye.
Right, okay.
So yeah, it discredits that. It discredits Leprechaun in Space and Leprechaun in the Hood.
Also,
And-
Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Yes. So there's no rapping leprechauns or leprechauns with lightsabers or anything like that.
It's a shame.
So what you're saying is that it's a 0 out of 10?
No, it's I was pleasantly
How much
surprised
Snoop Dogg
by the sequel.
is in this
so
one?
the first one's actually got starring Jennifer Aniston as the main protagonist.
It was like a first
Eh,
role,
right.
wasn't it?
It must be. And Warwick Davis, who's a bit of a British TV legend, is the Leprechaun. And it's not a very well made movie, but it's very fun and it's quite quirky. It knows what it is, so it knows when to overstep the boundaries into comedy and when to stay within its zone, if that makes sense.
Cool.
And you can kind of picture as it goes along, someone claims to see a leprechaun and no one believes them, and he's after his gold and he'll kill everyone in his path to get there type thing. So it was quite fun. It was good. And then the sequel is now set in our times, and it's actually got one of the original actors for the first one still living in the town, and the main girl this time is Jennifer Aniston's daughter,
Right, okay.
who's moving to this town to go to a nearby college, and they're using the same house from the first one to set up their own sort of sorority. and they somehow, it doesn't really, it's a bit of a daft thing how they resurrect the leprechaun. I think some of his blood fell into a well and they drink from the well and that resurrects him or some nonsense.
Obviously,
but,
that's how you do it.
Aye, how else do you bring a leprechaun back? Couple of
I mean, they brought back
sorry.
Freddy by letting a dog piss in his bones. So like,
That makes sense.
well, I guess.
Couple of continuity errors because they got a different actor to play the leprechaun because Warwick Davis didn't want to do any more horror. See, it was something to do with he didn't want to do any films where his kids couldn't watch him in or something like that.
Kids now.
So they got
He's went soft.
Yeah, they got a different actor. So instead of an Irish accent, it's now a Northern Irish accent.
Oh no!
Which is a bit annoying because there is quite a distinct difference.
Contentious.
Yeah, but it's full on. Most of this is really solid practical effects. A couple of CGI moments where it needs to be, but when it doesn't need to be, they went full practical, and it looks really good for a straight to DVD 7 sequel to Leprechaun. I was texting you when I was watching it. I was saying I can't believe how much I'm enjoying this. It's actually not the worst, and wasn't what I was expecting.
I'm pretty sold on it, to be honest. It sounds fun.
I think it's still on Now TV.
Is it? Right, okay.
I'd heard it was it was good. I think that's kind of a trend that's going around right now, is taking all these old movies and kind of doing the Halloween thing. Like I know they did like 2 Critters once. There was like Critters. There was a Critters TV show on Shudder, and then they did a movie as well, which was the same kind
Critters
of vibe.
Attack. Yeah.
Aye. And then they did a Puppet Master one as well. So there's like a reboot of Puppet Master.
Aye.
And then there's the series. There's still the series that's ongoing, like the one that everyone knows or doesn't know. But I think that's really cool because a lot of those movies, when they came out, were actually good movies. Like the first ones are good movies, and then they kind of, to make money, like cheaped out and made all those like crappy sequels. Where like they could have actually just kept making good sequels if they just hadn't wanted to make so much money.
Aye.
So it's cool to see them kind of get there.
I know, because the main difference is, I mean, the first Leprechaun is it's so bad it's good type thing, but this Leprechaun Returns was just quite good.
It's just because they know.
Excellent.
They know what they'll know what they have to like kind of reference and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To keep the fans happy.
I've seen another couple of films from that director. I can't, off the top of my head, remember his name, but he did that film The Void, which I really enjoyed, and he's doing this new one, Psycho Goreman, which I think just got bought by Shudder.
It did.
So I'll be looking forward to see that. Hopefully that's out soon, we can talk about that. And then dug out 2 old Blu-rays that I hadn't watched, which were The House of Eyes Part 1 and Part 2. So House of Eyes is obviously a Wes Craven creation. The first one was very, very successful. To put it in context, it was made with $350,000, and in 1977 it grossed $25 million, which is quite staggering for a horror film.
Jesus.
Like you'd be happy with that now.
Well, exactly. And it's aged quite a bit. So the story is that a family breaks down in the desert in an RV type thing, and there's these cannibals that live in the hills who are sort of picking them off one by one. So it has aged a lot, but it's very, very good, and I could imagine probably in the 70s it was quite a scary film to watch as well. Because of its age, I didn't find it that particularly scary, but it's good. And what's good about it as well is it doesn't necessarily have a happy ending. It turns into more of a revenge thriller. There is an alternate ending which I watched, which is the sort of happy ending. So one of them's a sort of saddish ending, and then one of them is a happy ending. But I'm kind of glad to see, especially in that time, that they kind of went with a more dark ending, because you don't see that a lot anymore.
Nah.
And if they do, it's some sort of cheap jump scare at the end of a film, and that's it.
Does it hold up well, like visually and stuff?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I get the Arrow video copies, so they're all digitally remastered and visually remastered and whatnot. So it looks good. A couple of times when you can tell they've switched something out for the practical shot of a head getting caved in or something, but
Yeah.
for considering it's made in 1977, you probably can't really complain too much about it. Then we went on to 1984's House of Ice 2. Now, this film was made with $700,000, so double the budget. About 3/4 of the way through making this film, they ran out of money, so stopped making it.
Right.
Wes Craven then, in the same year, made A Nightmare on Elm Street, so we know what happened next with that. Obviously, became a horror franchise and whatnot. So when they had the money, they went. No, sorry, that's a lie. They decided not to finish the movie off, but they wanted to release it. So I think there's 20 minutes in this film, which is just flashbacks to the first film.
Oh no.
So the film's
Oh
the
no.
film is never finished. Wes Craven actually came out and said that he never wanted to make this film. He just made it because he needed the money. So there's not a lot of thought put into this film. Whilst looking it up, I found out that this is the only film to have a dog flashback scene. So when a dog has a flashback scene. So there you go.
What?
That kind of sums it up. So it takes place.
What kind of trivia is that?
Aye. So there you go.
That's brilliant.
Fair enough. Are you
Cannot
telling me
find.
that?
Sorry.
Are you telling me that? What did you? Surely there's other movies where a dog's had a flashback.
Maybe it just meant horror films or live action films. But maybe Lady and the Tramp and whatnot. It's got
Maybe
a
it was
flashback scene,
maybe it was the first.
Maybe it was the first. Aye. Yeah.
Surely All Dogs Go to Heaven has a flashback scene.
Aye, it must.
They go to hell.
So yeah, so
Is the movie good?
well, I'll wait for that.
Sorry if I jumped the gun.
No,
here.
because I just want to explain a couple other things about it before I give my final
Cool,
verdict. Cannot find anywhere online about how much this movie made, which I'm assuming is because it didn't make very much. Because the film wasn't finished.
If you can hear my
Is it not in the all seeing, all knowing wee box under its title on Wikipedia?
No, nothing there.
Oh man,
No, it's not even got.
that's as far as I would have got, to be fair.
It's not even got. It's not even got a box to say, "Oh, we don't know." It just has the box deleted off the page.
Jeez. I don't know if they're still going, but if you try screened.com, they tend to be pretty good for stuff like that.
I will do. I'm not sure what websites I tried. I know I tried about 5 or 6 and I couldn't find anything. So, this film's pretty much takes place 7-8 years later after the first one, and one of the young teenagers that survives the first one is back, and he doesn't want to go back into the desert. But all his friends want to go because they're right into dirt biking. There's a lot of dirt bike scenes in this film for some reason.
Great. Did you just like tan a Monster Energy drink while you were watching it?
I wish I did.
some producer's kid was like, "Oh, dirt biking's really cool," and he was like, "Put dirt bikes in the movie. Kids like dirt bikes."
Aye.
Have they added Limp Bizkit into the soundtrack for the remake?
No, but they should. They've missed a trick there, I'll tell you that.
They should put corn in it.
Aye. Yeah.
And also, who's with him in this film is a girl called Ruby, and Ruby was a cannibal in the first one who wasn't a cannibal. She was a kind of good guy from the sort of hill people that helped save them in the end. So they're back, and their friends want to go out to do some dirt biking, and they're like, right, we'll come with you, but we don't want to. And it's very, very 80s, right? So now you see like some YouTube videos of like cheesy 80s scenes. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was all of this film. It's very cheesy. So I think that's why this time round I actually quite enjoyed it, because I was sort of appreciating that it was so unbelievably 80s that it was probably too 80s at the time for its viewers. But you can tell the film's not finished. It abruptly ends. Within the first hour, like there's 20 minutes of flashback scenes. They brought in a new character, a new bad guy, which was quite good. But yeah, it's not very good. if I was to rate it as rating films, it would be very low. But if you're watching something knowing it's going to be bad and you're appreciating the badness of it and the situation it was in, it was mildly enjoyable.
Cool. How does it measure up to like the modern ones? Are they like straight remakes or?
Well, this is why I watched the remakes.
I've not seen any of them.
This is why I watched the remakes, because I was quite interested to hear this. So, Wes Craven had a lot. He was the producer of the first one, and he had a lot of creative control over it, probably more than a lot of producers do. So he watched remakes of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and thought, I think it's time for a House of Eyes remake. He didn't want to make it, but he did everything. He did the scouting locations. He pretty much wrote the remake. He scouted the director.
Right, okay.
He had a lot of influence on this film. It's pretty much an exact retelling with some additional scenes, but I think the remake is very, very disturbing and very terrifying. I was actually pretty scared watching it the night before. So I think because of that, it probably is a better film than the original.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, without nostalgia getting in the way and saying the sort of quote unquote right thing of like how the original's always better or whatever, because Twitter says you're meant to say that.
Aye.
As someone who's not seen any of these movies, what one should I watch?
Oh, you should watch the remake, because I know that you'll enjoy that more. I mean, the original, I always think in my head, you've got to remember, this is also the original concept, it's the original way they made it. But Wes Craven, because he produced this is almost like what he wanted to make but couldn't in the 70s, if that makes sense.
Aye.
So
yeah,
they bring in a wee bit extra, they bring in this sort of show the extended reality of how many of these cannibals there are. They also kind of bring in more reality to the fact that they're all severely physically deformed because they were caught in a nuclear test site, so they were hit by a sort of radioactive wave from a A-bomb, which has obviously affected their growth and whatnot. And it's all like an inbred family type thing, so I think that brings a sort of scarier aspect to it as well.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. Very scary, a lot of disturbing scenes in it. And a lot of the close-up looks at the cannibals are all, again, practical effects, but they said like for cannibals whatnot in the background they just use CGI for that, but you can't really tell. It's done very well. Cool. So it's quite subtle, but it works. Highly recommend that one, it's very good. So again, I moved on to the House of Eyes 2 remake, which Wes Craven wrote because he was so disappointed in the original 2. He thought, I want to make the proper one that I should have made, so I'll write this one and get somebody else to direct it, blah blah blah. Again,
that's cool.
Had a lot of creative control, but not a fan of this one again, didn't really enjoy it. It's a totally different story. This one, it's the National Guard are doing like training sessions nearby, and at the original site where all this cannibalism took place, there's been a team there setting up cameras because they've heard the stories and whatnot and they want to find out what's going on. And obviously...
2 seconds, fellas, I think there might be somebody at my door.
No problem.
But just carry on.
Problem. But this original team mysteriously disappear, so this National Guard are sent in to go and find them. Start finding all these old mine shafts where the cannibals live and whatnot, so go down there to investigate, and as you can imagine, they're picked off one by one. So that's kind of really it. A lot of gruesome deaths, but there's not really any real stories. Didn't really enjoy that one, to be honest. I wouldn't really recommend seeing that. The first one's good enough as a standalone in itself.
That's a shame, man. I think quite often that is the case with like a lot of Wes Craven stuff. Is like a lot of the stuff he writes but doesn't direct doesn't really come out that great.
Yeah.
There's like a few things I've seen where I'm like,
I mean, that's
sorry about that, guys. That's me.
No, you're
that's
all
me
right.
back.
I think what was different about these remakes though was the amount of creative control that Wes Craven had, because he obviously sold the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street. Said no saying that. Like we talked about in the first episode with Child's Play, Don Mancini didn't have any say in the Child's Play remake, so it was interesting to see the original creator getting involved so much in the remakes.
That's not something you see very often.
No,
What was the gist there that I missed? Is the second one
No.
good?
Oh,
what?
It's basically. I'll just quickly say it in short.
Sorry,
The army have
that's-
heard stories about the cannibals. They go to set up cameras, and then they mysteriously get killed and disappear. So, a National Guard training base is sent in to find out what's going on, and as you can imagine, they're picked off one by one.
Yeah.
I would probably stay away from that one. I didn't really enjoy it.
I think I'll check out the first one.
Yeah,
that
you
sounds
should.
cool.
I think you'd enjoy it.
Pretty sold on it.
It was a remake, so I just assumed it was
There's
crap. Never watched
No,
it.
it's good. No, it is really good.
some DIY getting done in the close outside my door there, so you might hear some banging.
But it was done. The remake was directed by that Alexandra Aya, who did that recent film Crow, which was pretty good. So he is a good director.
Cool.
That pretty much sums up all I have for now. So I'll let you take over.
Awesome. What we never spoke about this off air, but it's just something I'm interested in. What stuff have you been playing, games wise, in lockdown? Just out of curiosity, because I'd quite like
Mostly, sorry, I'm just flicking my chair. Mostly, Call of Duty with you guys, but I obviously bought that game, Man Eater, where you're a shark and you eat everything that moves, and I'm kind of enjoying that.
Cool. Cool. I know we're not a games podcast. I don't want to overstep our boundaries here, but we're playing a hell of a lot of games.
That Man Eater, I mean, there's no really deep story in it. I mean, you do the same thing constantly, but you're eating different things and whatnot. But it's fun. It's good fun.
It seemed quite witty. Did you know the narrator's Chris Parnell?
I didn't, but I quite like the narrator aspect of it. It comes out with like quite a lot of kind of jokes and comedy and all that when you're playing. So
I watched a gameplay video and I thought it was him, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, I've not played it, but it seems to give it a bit of personality.
I got they're doing the Epic Games. They're giving away a game like every few days or every week or whatever. Yeah. I got GTA 5 and they gave you like a free £10 off like coupon for a game.
Oh,
so
cool.
I might get, because that's like, how much was that, Chris? Like 35 quid or
33, I think.
I might use it to get that and check it out because it looks.
The reason I got it is because every game I tend to get, story games, it tends to be games like Red Dead 2 and whatnot and God of War where you need to invest a lot in it, and I've had the games and I've not finished a lot of them, so I thought I just want a game that I can just chill and play half an hour of and come back to it and not really be too worried about forgetting the controls and whatnot.
Aye, kind of more arcadey than like.
Aye, almost.
Awesome. I'd be into talking more games on this here and there, just since we're spending so much time on it.
A good idea for certainly when people are trapped in the house at the minute, anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, who's next?
I don't mind. I don't mind going next. I've got plenty to talk about.
Joe, if you want to go, fire in.
Cool. Okay. Right. So I'll start off, just buzz through this quickly. I watched the Indiana Jones trilogy. Classics, obviously. It's just still so good. Like, it holds up so well. It's got the iconic music, the kind of twists and turns the stories take and stuff are great. Harrison Ford's fantastic. What are you guys kind of big on them? What would you say is your favourite in the series?
Mine's has always been The Last Crusade, and I think that's because back in the days of videotaping, that was one of the films that I videotaped off the telly. And like we'll probably talk about later on, when I was young, I used to watch a lot of the James Bond films with my pappy, and so I was always a big fan, even as a young boy, of Sean Connery. Like, I really loved his voice in Dragonheart and stuff like that. So that was my go-to. I know Raiders of the Lost Ark's a better made film, but I really enjoyed Last Crusade.
There's the thing is, again, like, tradition dictates that we all think that that's the best made one. Like, I think the third one's the best by a mile. I love the change of pace with 2. There's a bit of a kind of horror light aspect. Probably for the time, it probably was very dark. The first one's good, but it's once you have the context of the ones after it, I don't think it holds up quite as well. I don't think it's as interesting. I love it. Like I think it's fantastic, but I think when again, and this is another point that will come up momentarily, I think when a movie in a series is surrounded by such other fantastic movies, I'm by no means being negative on it, but I think the first one for me is the least good one.
There can sometimes be a kind of margin in what you can say is the better made film and the better idea compared to the one that's more enjoyable, if that makes sense.
Aye.
Aye,
and I think when you're dealing with movies this good, if we were doing a review scale, we're talking about like 0.1 of a point separating them and stuff like that. Like we're talking minuscule margins here, but I like the mystery in the third one the best.
You're both wrong. It's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the best one. When he gets in the fridge.
Aye. I mean, see, to be fair, I really don't like that movie now. I've went back and watched it. I watched that at whatever age we were when it came out.
We went to see it in the cinema.
I don't know, like 12 or 13 or something. Like, I didn't mind it at the time. I didn't think it was amazing or anything, but I was like not offended by it. But now it's just, you realise how bad it is, I guess, when you grow up and I was going to say develop more of a taste, but I certainly don't have that.
I think when you just realise how good the first three are,
aye,
you would be like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, it just is. I think it was just so unnecessary.
Aye, I think the Crystal Skull, I mean, you can tell that probably after they shot every scene, they were just like, oh, well, we'll fix it in post. Because there's a lot of added extras into it.
It's just that George Lucas, like, we'll just film it all in blue screen, and then anything we don't like, we can just cover it in grass and what? I don't know, but I just think maybe we should just all leave Harrison Ford alone. Like, I don't think he wants to act anymore. Like, just let him retire. Like,
and he's the man. Like everything he's in still he's like great, but you can tell he's just like not into it.
It's a bit like
he would go on like before The Force Awakens came out, and he would go on like chat shows and stuff, and people would be asking him about Star Wars, and he'd just be like, I don't care. If they filmed those movies like 30 years ago, like it doesn't, they don't mean anything to him.
Aye, they should give him the treatment that Jack Nicholson got, where he sort of made that anger management comedy, which was very funny. Then he done The Departed and The Bucket List, and he thought, right, this guy's going out in a high here, let's just let him enjoy his retirement. And he's kind of not been seen since. But you get people like, as much as I love him, like Robert De Niro, like still getting pulled back for like Little Fockers
and Dirty Grandpa.
You're like, why are you doing this to such a legend?
Have you seen that photo of Jack Nicholson where he's been banned from sitting courtside at the LA Lakers games because he brought homemade chili with him in a Tupperware and like spilt it all down himself and on the court and all that in the middle of the game?
I've not seen that. I'll need to look that up.
It's so funny.
It's so good. It's so good.
What a legend.
Right, I'll get to my main project for this show. I'm by no means a film major or anything like that, but I put a lot of work into this. I watched all the Daniel Craig Bond movies because by now we should have seen the new one, and we can't because obvious reasons. It's been delayed till November. I was never a big Bond guy growing up, but I think these movies are just incredible. Like, they are my definitive Bond movies. And I've got a lot to kind of go into on them. I watched all of them, took a ton of notes and stuff. And I know people are really passionate about these movies, so please don't tweet me saying that I'm canny fight, because I think these are the best ones. Like, that, you know, it's all subjective. So I started with Casino Royale. And feel free to just interject at any point, either of you, because I'm just going to babble on here at what I've wrote down. I love the start, the whole parkour sequence that introduces you to Bond and the kind of new Bond. He like puts that guy's face through a sink. or whatever he does to him. I think he like drowns a guy. I think like it's pretty like visceral and brutal. There's the parkour sequence where he's like just jumping like through walls and stuff. Like he's not very graceful in the way that you would think a traditional Bond would probably be, where he just like jumps shoulder first through roofs and stuff like that. And I think it's just like so effective. And it's the start of like consistent imagery through at least the first two Daniel Craig movies, where in a given scene, like the person who is the expert at something will be doing it gracefully and really well, and then he will be doing it through sheer grit and determination and just like hurting himself, and it's just like chaos. So you've got this parkour guy that he's chasing, who's like scaling up a crane like dead gracefully, like running up it, and Bond's just like falling and hitting his face on the side of it and stuff like that, and it's just like so well put together. And I found like before the opening credits even roll, which are done by Chris Cornell and are phenomenal, like you learn just about everything you need to know about him without him really saying much at all through his actions, which I thought was great. It very quickly kind of humanises him throughout the movie, where he kind of falls in love and there's that whole human side of him. And it's not just him like parachuting in on a Union Jack, like parachuting using an exploding watch, you know, like it's some real stuff, so to speak, for an otherwise kind of unbelievable, over the top action movie. It manages to ground it in reality in a way that I really appreciate. Again, there's the whole this whole section with the poker game I think's great, even though I don't know how poker works. And again, he's sat across the table from Le Chiffre, who's played by Mads Mikkelsen, who's fantastic. And it's like Le Chiffre's sitting like twirling the poker chips in his hand, and like he'll gently place them on the table, and then Bond will just like throw them, you know, like throw them down dead ungracefully. Again, the same sort of parallel. The whole thing with Vesper, who's played by Eva Green's great, and they start to like build up this new ongoing sort of storyline that's going to go through all of these movies in some form or another, and start to build to what's going to be Quantum in the next movie, which is the kind of big bad organisation.
Might just
that he's facing.
Interject here if that's alright, quickly.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's a really good scene in one of the poker scenes where it kind of basically says to the audience, we are kind of rebooting James Bond into something different, and it's when he goes to order the dry martini and he goes, oh no wait, change that, and he comes up with a new drink. And I think that's almost like a sort of subliminal sign to say, right, listen, this is going to be a different kind of James Bond than what you're used to here.
Yeah, it's just so well done. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I can't give it enough praise, really. I think it's just unbelievably good. And still the second best out of these movies. Hint, hint.
I think.
Yeah, I just think it's great. I think the way it kind of, like you've got the kind of traditional Bond girl thing where it can be argued that they're disposable characters and things like that. Certainly isn't the case here. Tremendously important part of the story and a tremendously important part of the series going forward is the Vesper character. And the bit where he flips the car was practical, and it just looks amazing. It flips like 9 times. It's crazy. It's just great. Like, it's so visceral, I guess, is the word I would use. It's the perfect word for it. If you just feel it, man. Like when there's a fight scene, you feel it, like in your bones, the noises that are coming out and things like that. Like there's the torture scene, which is wild. Like, I'm amazed by how great it is.
I think when Casino Royale came out, obviously people weren't really expecting it, especially after the sort of cheesy nature of Pierce Brosnan films. Like they are so cheesy. I mean, there's a bit in Tomorrow Never Dies when he throws somebody into a newspaper printer and then says they'll print anything these days and walks away. So I don't think people were expecting it. Because I think I remember Casino Royale getting kind of mixed reviews, but now I think it's looked back on and saying that was actually quite a very good film that they made there. I just don't think they
Aye.
realised what they were going to be going for with Daniel Craig.
It's because people have had such an idea of what Bond is for like 50 years or whatever.
Aye.
Like, and a lot of it is stuff that like they would have had to have changed. Like the sort of whole idea of the Bond girl and stuff like that just like would not float now. Folks still want it, but like it's not
Aye.
it's pure not on like at all. And like just like a lot of like I think if you went back and watched a lot of those movies now, you'd be quite shocked. Like a lot of the things Bond says. And I think it's one of those ones where folk kind of die on a like they're like, this is the hill I'm going to die on. It's like you can't change James Bond. It's like when they made Doctor Who a woman. It's one of those because it's such a like it's a British institution. Like James Bond is James Bond and he does this and this is all he can do.
Aye.
Which is honestly what's put me off watching them.
Then you should watch these ones, like, because it's not what you're
even
getting.
with the whole Miss Moneypenny character from the old ones, who was, well,
we'll get to that.
Her character almost gets like redemption almost to become the character that she is.
Yep.
But
yeah, totally. Yeah, just a killer movie. Ends like not in a cliffhanger, but no, by no means a cliffhanger, but it just sort of leaves it open to continue the story. Which, while I'm not a Bond expert, I'm led to believe it isn't really something that would usually happen, which is cool. It ends with like this is a 12-year-old movie or something like that at this point, so I'm guessing spoilers are okay. It ends with him capturing the sort of guy he's been after, and you don't see what he does with him. And then the next movie, Quantum of Solace, opens with him like tied with Bond driving with this guy like tied up in the boot of the car, I believe. There's like a chase scene. This is Quantum of Solace. I think it came out in 2008.
yeah, I think so.
In my head, I only saw this once. In my head, I thought this movie sucked, right? And then, like, see if you'd have asked me to explain why, I couldn't have. So it's one of those things where it planted the seed in my brain for whatever reason, that I didn't like this movie. Turns out I totally like this movie. It's just a case of, again, it's the thing where like we're talking about the Indiana Jones movies, and again, this is totally just what I think. It's by no means right. Is that this is the worst out of these movies, but it's still totally like a 7 odd out of 10 film. Like, it's definitely flawed here and there and stuff, but there's some important character progression and things like that. And it's totally like a valuable part of the series as well. So it's got a cracking opening. Much like all of these Daniel Craig movies, the opening's great. I believe this is the movie that Jack White
and Alicia Keys,
for.
aye. I was obsessed with that song when it came out.
Yeah. And again, it comes back to the thing of him like fumbling his way through agile, like acrobatic scenes where I think he's chasing someone on the roofs in Italy, and he's just like jumping onto balconies and like hammering full force into the wall and stuff, which is cool. The fight scenes are pretty violent, compared to Casino Royale. Like, he really does some damage to some gentlemen in this movie. And again, it grounds it in as much realism as you could hope for in a spy movie. There is some kind of poor CGI here and there that stands out, which is a shame. Like, there's a bit where him and another guy fall through a skylight and are like fighting on the way down, and it's really cool, but it looks very CG. And it in a series that otherwise in like Casino Royale was largely practical from what I could see. And then Skyfall and Spectre are like a masterclass in that, but I'll get to that. It's largely practical, and you get this CG sort of. It's just a shot. Like, I'm being very critical here. It's just I watched these movies and put a hell of a lot of thought into this, for the hashtag content. Like, it really does stick out. It progresses the Bond character in ways that I didn't pick up on when I watched it as a mid-teenager. And that he's sort of, at least what I took from it was that he's sort of driven by revenge in a lot of ways, and this sort of, there's not a lot of thought into what he's going to be doing next. He's just keeping going because he lost Vesper in the in Casino Royale. He then meets a character, and because I'm a crap podcaster, I haven't actually noted her name, but the female lead in the movie, he meets her, and she's also on a revenge mission, and their paths kind of converge. And essentially the character progression is, again, there's going to be spoilers for all of these movies. I'm talking freely about them. I'm guessing you guys don't mind.
No.
It's I might check them out, but I already know what happens in most of them anyway. So
yeah, so the kind of it's a bit of a kind of muddy plot. I don't know if you remember that well, Chris. It's to do with an organisation buying up drought land to then starve the country of water and then sell it for more money.
Yeah, I think that I just kind of thought Quantum of Solace was a wee bit messy for me, and I think that description.
It is
messy.
That's
why I didn't particularly enjoy it.
It is messy.
As much as the others.
But you'll get why I definitely don't like it as much as others, but you'll get why I think it's valuable. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's definitely valuable for the character. Yeah, and here's kind of why, at least I think. He's kind of driven by revenge at this point. I thought, and sort of just wants to. It isn't really processing what's happened to him, and he meets this girl who's also out for revenge with the leader of the nation which she's from. Because I think they killed her family or kidnapped her family, something like that. And he sees her exact her revenge in a fairly excessive way, and it doesn't help her at all. There's nowhere for the anger to go now, because there's no one to focus on.
Not the answer type thing.
Totally, and he sees that, and it changes him. And I thought that was, as much as we had to go through a water drought terror plot to get to it, I thought that was a really poignant moment, and thought it was really effective. I liked it a hell of a lot. And then it sets up Skyfall in that way that Skyfall starts where he's good to go, he's back in the job, he's effective. I was going to say something there and I've totally lost my train of thought. Right, we talked about this very briefly earlier, and I have absolutely no facts to back this up, right? But there are some other Bond movies made not by the folks who make them. There's some unofficial ones to do with licensing, where some another company's got some of the characters but not all of the characters, and it's all very complicated. I know a big part of that was that they couldn't use the name Spectre in the Bond movies for a long time. That the organisation in Quantum of Solace is called Quantum. They're the kind of big baddie. I get the impression that was fake Spectre. A sort of wink wink nudge nudge. We all know what this is, but we can't say it. And then they ended up being able to sort of fix that later on.
But they're not just referring to it as the organisation or something, is that right?
No, they call it Quantum. Right. They call it Quantum, but once you get to Spectre, you find out about Spectre, and they're like, we run them, and it's just that's it. So they did the best with what they had. I like the movie. I certainly don't think it holds up anywhere near as well as the other ones, but I don't think it's bad. It's fine and has some important character stuff. I don't know if you guys agree, but
I've not seen it. I can't speak to it.
Aye,
okay. And I had a great game that came out.
It actually did. I've watched it a few times. I think the last time I watched it was maybe a year ago, maybe just under a year. But I just thought it was messy. I just something, I don't know, couldn't put my finger on it. I think because I held Skyfall and Casino Royale in high regards is maybe why I don't like it, but it just wasn't for me, that one.
Fair enough, fair enough. So on to Skyfall, we pick up Bond's the top man again, good to go. It picks up, he's on a mission with who we then find out is Moneypenny. And like you were saying, she's a lot more of a all-seeing, all-doing action heroine, which is really cool to see. I see, apart from stuff that I've got like a real emotional investment in, like Avengers Endgame or like the Star Wars stuff, things like that, Skyfall's the best action movie I've ever seen, bar none.
You've not seen
Like,
Beatdown, starring Rudy Youngblood and Michael Bisping?
I mean, I actually have seen Beatdown because you made me watch it, but that's a discussion for another day. See, for me, Skyfall is a bona fide 10 out of 10 flawless movie. I think it's just absolutely stunning.
It's before you get into it, 'cause I know you've got a lot to say about it, but there's a scene in it. I can't remember it, but there's like 4 scenes happening at once. So there's like the thing that's going on at the court, and then Bond running through the streets, and then all that. And that was probably a huge, I don't know if turning point's the right concept, but I think it's a very important scene for sort of British cinema. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of info on all of that. This movie looks so crisp all the time for its entire runtime. It's like 2.5 hours long or whatever. It's done by Sam Mendes, who's one of my favourite directors. He did 1917. He also did Spectre, did a bunch of other stuff. He's very much the kind of Christopher Nolan, at least from what I can see in my uneducated opinion, is very much the Christopher Nolan school of like as much practical as possible. This movie is just so fantastic in so many ways. It starts with a bike chase scene in, is it Istanbul, I believe?
I think that's right, yeah. That rings a bell.
Where they end up on the train. So they're driving dirt bikes over the roofs in Istanbul, and they're 3 metres wide each roof. And they actually did it all. Like, it's all practical, all the stunts are real, which is just so wild. Like, it's a crazy sequence. Like, see if you're not wanting to go and watch like 10 hours of Bond movies, Stephen, like, just go watch this. Like, you can figure out what's went on before it and stuff, and why things matter. It is honestly a complete 10 out of 10. There is not a single thing that I would change about it. So they start off, Bond and Moneypenny are on a mission, and you get a bit of role reversal at this point, in that you're used to Bond being like the kind of, not the loose cannon, because he is very controlled, but he's not very agile and stuff like that. You've got Bond on a bike doing like jumps over houses and just crazy lunacy. He's like driving up stair sets and things, and Moneypenny's now the kind of raging bull, so to speak, where she's less experienced than him. She's driving a car and hitting stuff and like taking out market stalls and crashing into people. And I thought that was a nice wee touch. I don't know how deliberate it was, but I definitely picked up on it, to show like Bond's back, he's in working order, he's good to go, you know, he's the sort of the man, so to speak. There's then the scene where he's fighting Patrice, who's the mercenary they're chasing, on the top of a train, which is just fantastic. And Moneypenny's ordered to take the shot to take out the mercenary, despite the fact that she could hit Bond, and of course she hits Bond. He falls into the water below the train, and the mercenary gets away. We then cut into Adele's song Skyfall, which is so good. Yep. It's fantastic. We then get a scene of, you know, X amount of time has passed and Bond is in hiding, sort of retired, getting drunk, and not being James Bond. And then there's a bomb goes off at MI6 headquarters, and he sees it in the news, and then heads back to London to sort of see what he can do to help. And he goes through all his physical and mental tests and things like that, and it shows you a montage of him, and he just does awful at all of it and fails all of it. And then he goes into a meeting with M, played by Judi Dench, who's amazing as always, and is told, you passed everything. and you can see he's like nervous and like doesn't like knows fine well he didn't pass it and all the rest of it.
Remember that.
And there's a kind of bit of dialogue between some other characters in the office and blah blah blah, and like he, as he leaves the meeting, he snaps from like James Bond to 007 because somebody says something to him as he leaves, and he's like, his demeanour's completely different. I thought that was a really good touch of like, right, it's business time, doesn't matter what state I'm in, all the rest of it, it's business time. Let's go and be an action hero sort of thing. I thought that was a really nice touch. You they end up in Shanghai, I believe. And sort of plot happens, which leads them to the big bad guy
and
who's
then
played
it's got
by
the silhouette fight scene, which is amazing.
Yeah. I'm trying my best to note the stuff I really like about it without just like reading the plot of Wikipedia. You know what I mean? There's some exposition. He ends up on an island where the baddie is played by Javier Bardem, and he's just the best. He's so great, like so great in so many ways. And there's a scene basically. I wouldn't just like describe it in great depth, but there's basically a high stakes scene where Bond has to shoot something that's hard to shoot. In fact, you know what? I'll just spoil it because we're doing spoilers anyway, and it's important to why I like the movie so much. Basically, there's a woman tied up, and Bardem's character Raoul Silva puts a shot of whiskey on her head, gives Bond a pistol, and is like, right, shoot it off. And he's like all shaky and stuff because he's obviously failed all these shooting tests and all the rest of it. And he won't do it, so Bardem's character takes it off him and just shoots her in the chest, and then goes and picks the shot up off the ground, and it's like, look, it's that easy, sort of thing. It's just a great moment of how brutal this villain is, because he's quite like campy in a lot of ways, but in like good ways. But he's just fantastic. And there's they end up capturing him, taking him back to London, and then he kind of manufactures his own breakout once in London, and it turns out he's after Judi Dench's character for seemingly betraying him in the past. There's a chase through the subway, which is great, which ends in a subway train getting diverted like into the sort of chamber they're in under the ground, and it's all practical and just looks so fantastic. And yeah, then we've got the scene that Chris had brought up earlier of like Judi Dench's characters in a hearing because they don't think the 007 programme's necessary anymore and stuff like that. And she decides to end her address to Parliament and things with like some poetry, I forget who by. But she's basically reciting this like piece of poetry as Bond chases Bardem through the streets of London.
Yep.
And it's just amazing. Like proper goosebump stuff. Like you have to watch it to get it, sort of thing. It's such a powerful moment. It's amazing. And then the story sort of goes for there. It's just incredible on so many fronts. And they get the look of London amazing, because a lot of movies will either shoot in other cities and make it look like London.
Which, Hobbs and Shaw.
So like So the proportions of where things are like off and stuff like that. Like it's not exact. Whereas because it's Bond and it's a big British institution, they got to shoot like in the middle of London, like shut down a load of roads and properly shot in the middle of London. You can totally tell. Like, killer movie. It ends up in Scotland and the Highlands and stuff like that. And oh man, I could talk about that for hours. And then it goes on to Spectre, which I think's fantastic as well. I know because it was the follow up to Skyfall. It wasn't as positively received, just because it's following up a perfect movie.
Don't lie, Joe.
It's
You
hard.
only like it because Batista's in it.
I mean, Batista's great in it with his metal fingernails, but. Proper Bond henchman type stuff where he's got metal fingernails so he can poke folks' eyes out, which is just great. It's sort of this movie for me was a sort of transition of, well, not a transition, a sort of blending of the modern Bond style of loads of practical effects, like brutal fight scenes, horrible stuff happening to loads of people all the time. But they started to pass in a wee bit of some gadgets and some sort of quote unquote hijinks along the way. I like it a hell of a lot. There's one big flaw in it that I'm not so fond of, but we'll get to that. Chris, did you try and say something?
I was just going to say, because I've not actually seen all of Spectre, so I don't know the answer, but I remember when Spectre was coming out, there was a lot of theories that Batista's character was going to be Oddjob. Was that true?
No, he is. He's a named character, like a known named Bond henchman, but is it Hicks or something like that? It's like ends with an X. I can't remember. But he's great, man. Like Batista's the man. Like, see, at that point, he hadn't been in that many movies, but we all know now.
Right,
Like,
he's
he's class. There's a great chase scene with him and Bond and stuff like that. It starts at a really striking opening where it's Bond on a mission in Mexico City on the Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks great. Ends up with him like in a helicopter over the plaza, like fighting someone in the helicopter. Again, just the visuals are great, but I don't know why. Like, it isn't something he does very often. There was like a green screen shot in the middle of it that was like very obviously green screen, and it just pure sticks out. But like, it's one shot in a whole movie that's otherwise
maybe a
great.
reshoot or
So
something.
you know, yeah, it is what it is. Like, we're being like with movies that are this good. Like, we're being extremely picky to not just do a show about movies and say everything's amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's basically it ends up with Bond finding out about Spectre, who've been behind the villains in all these recent Daniel Craig Bond movies, essentially. There's one shot that really stood out to me of like there's a scene where Bond speaks to M, who's now played by Ralph Fiennes. And he like walks out into the kind of lobby of MI6, and it's like an overhead shot of him walking through the lobby, and there's no one around him. I just thought it was like a really nice bit of like imagery of like there's no one to help him, because that's what the conversation is about. Is like kind of you're on your own, we don't have any backup, etc., etc. It was just a really cool shot that I picked up on. His adventure takes him to Rome, where he finds out about Spectre and is chased by Batista through Rome. And there's a bit where he's taken this like prototype Aston Martin that was being worked on by Q, and he like looks down at the dashboard, and there's like all these gadget switches of like ejector seat and all the rest of it, like boosters and different things, and he like tries to make it work, and it won't work. It's like a kind of fake out, which I thought
kind of looks like though,
funny.
like with the next one coming up for the trailer, so I'm almost kind of foreshadowing what's to come.
Yep, totally. It's like there's a slow progression here of adding in the more campy bits, but in a realistic way. So they do the chase scene with Batista, which is great. That ends later in the movie. He's chased throughout the movie by Batista.
Like
Resident
Evil.
Sort of, aye. Pretty much exactly that, yeah. And it builds and builds, and eventually you get the reveal of the leader of Spectre, who's Blofeld, who I believe was part of that thing of like certain characters they can't use. Who's played by Christoph Waltz, who's fantastic. And it's the big reveal is basically, I've been behind it all, like Vesper, the love of your life, she's dead because of me, this person, they're dead because of me, blah blah blah, and they've got a man on the inside and they're taking over MI6 and you're screwed. Totally interesting spy movie plot, which is good. Like I like it a lot. But then it's like, and also your supposedly dead adopted brother that you've never mentioned.
Oh, aye, him.
And but like the thing, to a certain extent, it's fine, right? Because it's like the thing of Bond's traumatised for his past and doesn't mention certain things, so it seems like a strong alpha male. That's fine. Like, yeah, that's an interesting character point. That's totally fine. But it just seemed like just a bit much. Like, I thought the twist of I'm this really well acted character that's the big bad guy and it's all my fault. Like, that was fine.
Aye.
Like, I was totally satisfied with
Also
that.
in your brain.
And I don't know, maybe it's a plot point for the books or whatever that they felt like they had to put in, but it doesn't ruin the movie at all. Like, not even close. It just seemed like a bit much, really, I think. That's just me, but I think it's a killer movie. Like, it's an 8 out of 10 at least. You know, like I like it a hell of a lot. There's some fantastic action scenes. It's got this usual Sam Mendes thing of a lot of practical stuff. Daniel Craig's great in all of these movies, man. Like, he's so perfect for the part, or at least the direction they took the part in. It reminds me a lot of Splinter Cell Conviction for back in the day of, like, those were these, like, dead sleek, like, espionage games, and then Conviction had him, like, using a smashed car wing mirror to look under doors instead of a snake cam, you know, and stuff like that. Like, it's just a killer series. Like, I had such a good time watching it, and like I says, I think you can rent Skyfall for like £3 or whatever off Amazon, Stephen. See, if you've not seen it, you owe it to yourself. You really do. Like, if you're not into these movies, I'm not gonna kid on that you're gonna like watch the whole series and think it's amazing. Like, you might, but who knows? But Skyfall's perfect. Like, literally perfect. It's just mind-blowingly good. I've got so much positivity to say about it. Like, we could do a whole series on it, a whole podcast on it. Sorry. I think I'm gonna go back and watch them in like a month or so with a commentary on, just to get a bit more background on how they were shot and things like that. Just because I was so get so much enjoyment out of watching them. I'm thinking about going back and watching all the Bond movies now, but it's the thing of like the reason I like these new ones so much is because they're different, and that's what drew me to them.
Yeah, man. Like,
so I don't know how into that idea I am.
I remember parts of
we'll
those
see.
Pierce Brosnan ones.
Yeah,
they're really something.
Really great.
And that's sort of the lot as far as what I've watched. I watched a hell of a lot of SAS Who Dares Wins on Channel 4, which is really good. And I've played a bunch of games. I've got a bit of game chat for you if you want, or if it's a bit much, then that's cool.
My mum just busted my room and like threw something on the bed. I don't know what it is. 2 seconds.
Sure. No bother.
Hope it was not classical.
I've definitely watched less movies than last time. I think I was up at like 17 odd last time we did one of these.
I think it was about 17.
But the level of quality that I've had the pleasure of enjoying throughout the last couple of weeks has just been amazing, man. And I shout out to that Quantum of Solace game because it was great.
I'm back.
I got a pure like harsh rap because it was on the Call of Duty engine and stuff, and it was like quite similar, but it had like a cover system and it was really fun. I liked it a lot. It was cool.
Right. Speaking of that, that's kind of something we've been talking about, is doing sort of maybe some like videos on like YouTube for like maybe some gameplay or something. I think something that I would like to kind of get into is like playing licensed movie games.
Yeah.
So we'll look into that. I've got notoriously bad Wi-Fi, but I'm getting new Wi-Fi on Monday, so hopefully that will allow me to sort of just upload stuff without having to kind of go through a bunch of hoops to do so.
Aye, I think like once we're back to being able to socialise in other people's houses, even if it's a limited number, like I think I speak for all of us in that each other is going to be pretty high up that list. So we'll be in a position to like do stuff in person, hopefully in the next couple of months. Did you see your low battery there?
But my AirPods ran out of battery, so I need to let them charge a little bit, and then I'll stick them back in. I've got headphones in just now.
Sort of juggle
it'll be fine. It'll warm
cool.
it at 10%,
No worries.
and then I'll plug it in.
Cool. I've got a bit more chat for you, but I don't want to like overrun
fine.
it if you're struggling. Yeah, I've been playing a bunch of games. I played those old Lord of the Rings licensed games. I don't know if we spoke
I
about
think
those
you maybe
last time.
said you'd ordered them, but they hadn't came yet.
Yeah, I played those on GameCube. They're pretty great. Apart from the Helm's Deep levels, which are like legitimately terrible. Like they're just not even fun. It's a shame. It's just a total like disaster. Um, but yeah, those are fun games. It was good to go back to them and sort of have a bit of a nostalgia trip with those, which then led me to play Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. I think it's like 6 or 7 years old at this point. What are you? What is
Just
going
showing
on?
each other
This is-
DVDs.
This isn't a DVD. My mum put
yeah.
in. The thing my mum threw in my room was a thing from my dad for his retirement.
Oh, right, okay. I played Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor, which is like 6 years old, I think now. Probably it won like Game of the Year awards and stuff back in the day. It was really cool, man. Like I played through it in like 3 sittings or something like that of like 4 or 5 hours each, because we're in lockdown and can't go anywhere. It's like an open world Assassin's Creed ish adventure that has like combat similar to the Arkham games. It was cool, and there's like it's not like a movie licensed game. It's like got enough Lord of the Rings in there to kind of scratch that itch for you. But the main kind of game thing I wanted to talk about is just my total obsession the last week with Bloodborne. It's just taken over my life pretty much. The last few days when I've not been at work. It's like 5 years old. I actually got it the year it came out. It came with my PlayStation, and I played a bit of it and liked it, but couldn't really get into it. And now having seen other people play it on the internet and understanding how that game works, I've been just having the best time
It's
with
class,
it.
man. I could.
It's so wonderful. It's great having something so positive to put a ton of time into in a time like this. It's great.
Yes.
Cool. Is that everything?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Right,
I've been
awesome.
talking for a while. I've got we've just got that kind of main movie to hit on my list, but apart from that, I can
Sweet.
cross off everything else.
Right, I guess I'll go. So I watched
Let's hear it.
I watched a bunch of stuff, man, but I'm not gonna just sit and list off stuff that I watched, because I've got stuff that I have things to say about.
Aye, it's easy to fall into that trap of like I watched this and then I watched this
So
and
I'm
then
only
I
gonna
watched
talk about
this.
three movies, I think.
Cool.
One I liked. One I was like. One of them I liked. One of them I liked, but it's a deeply flawed movie. And one of them was
Oh, yes.
one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'll start with the good. So I watched. I think the first episode we watched. The first episode we recorded, or the second. I don't know. Me and Chris talked about the Shudder series cursed films.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about like
Right,
movies
okay.
where like tragedies and stuff happened on set, and then people claim that the movies are cursed or that they're haunted or whatever. And one of those movies was The Crow, which is like a 90s movie
Yeah.
starring Brandon Lee, who was the son of Bruce Lee, who tragically was killed on set when a piece of metal was lodged inside a prop gun, and when the squib shot, it shot the metal, and it like effectively he was shot by like a bullet, and it killed him on set. So I'd never seen it, but it certainly like kind of looks like my thing. So I thought I would check it out. And I
Oh, so you mean
yeah,
you're a
man,
big Sting
I just
fan?
really love when people wear gore paint and leather pants. But yeah, like I went into it kind of apprehensive because like it's a 90s movie and it's like super dark, and I just thought it was going to be like trying to be like super edgy and like kind of like wouldn't be fun.
Aye.
But I was pleasantly surprised when it was it's set in this like dark version of I think Los Angeles, like maybe I don't know. And then so it's like it's like it's Halloween or something. It's called Hell Night, and it's like the city sort of gets overrun with crime and stuff like that. Like people pure kick off. And then on this night, these guys sort of break into Brandon Lee and his girlfriend's house, and they kill Brandon Lee, and then they kill his wife, and then Brandon Lee is like resurrected as the Crow. So it's like this crow kind of like lands in his grave, and he like comes out of the grave, and now he has like superpowers. Like he can't die, can't get hurt really. He cuts and his wounds heal, and basically he goes and gets revenge on all the guys that killed his girlfriend. So like kind of, I mean, like it's not something you haven't seen before. Like it's been done a million times, but like this was sort of like, it's based on a comic book, and you can kind of imagine when I describe it, like when I say that like it's sort of dark and edgy. It predates The Matrix, but The Matrix clearly took like influence from it. It's got that kind of look where everything's kind of dark.
Sunglasses.
Yeah, that kind of new metal music playing in the background kind of thing. But like, it's genuinely like I just really it's hard to explain, man. Like because it's just a revenge action
Sounds
movie,
cool,
but like it's also a comic book movie that like maybe holds up better than like a lot of the comic book movies that came out at that time. Brandon Lee's like really great in it. Like it's such a shame, like what happened, because he's like so good. I thought it was going to be like he was going to be like pure dark and brooding, like pure Edward Cullen from Twilight, but he's not. Like his dialogue's quite funny at times and stuff. Sorry. The guy who plays Winston in the Ghostbusters movies, whose name's escaping me just now, plays like he's a beat cop who was a detective but got like put back on the beat because the police are corrupt, and he was like trying to expose them and stuff like that. And he sort of becomes he gets involved, and he sort of becomes the Crow's like helper. And then there's like a little girl who was like their friend when they were alive, and she gets involved as well. And basically it's all takes place over one night, and they go and take down this like criminal empire. Sorry?
Yep. Yeah, your audio signal in the chat is awful.
I'll switch to my
Stephen here.
I'll switch to my I'll switch to my 4G.
Yeah, I can figure out what you're saying, but it's pretty rough.
Have I got any delay for you, Joe? Right, I see.
No, all good.
Right, I've switched to my 4G, see if that helps. Right, sweet.
Yeah, that's way better.
Sorry, so yeah, they just go and they kind of take down this criminal empire all in one night so that he can get revenge. It's totally like basic.
Cool. Can you keep it? I won't, somewhat spoiler free? Because I'm gonna watch this.
I won't give anything away. What I can say is the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. There's just like bits of that straight up rip this movie off.
Do you mean the best Marvel movie?
Do you remember like the bit at the start of Daredevil where
Pied.
yeah, I'm not dignifying that with a response. The bit in the subway where the Daredevil's attacked, and the reporter's there, and he throws down the cigarette, and it lights up the two Ds in flames. That's just straight up lifted from The Crow. Like
it's weird because that was a massive like marketing scene for the film.
You can tell we are like that's clearly it's obviously the vibe they wanted Daredevil to be, and then like they were like, no, it needs to be for kids. So like, but I can't really talk about it much more. But like it's really good, and if you've not seen it, you should definitely watch it. There's also like
I'll watch it for the next show.
I don't know what they're meant to be like, but like because of how cool the world is, I would be like interested in checking them out just to see what they're like. And then if you watch that and watch the Cursed Films episode, like after you've watched it, it'll be super interesting.
I might do that.
Excellent.
The second movie I want to talk about is one of the movies that was released on like VOD home theatre. This thing they're doing just now whilst the pandemic's going on.
I'm excited to hear about this.
I think
Lay
I
it on
mentioned
me.
in the last episode that when I was at uni I studied animation. I'm a big animation guy. I love cartoons. Love cartoons probably more than a 26-year-old man should love cartoons, but I really do. One of the cartoons that I love from growing up and from the movies and everything is Scooby-Doo. And last week they released SCOOB on home VOD. So I was quite excited to get that watched. And I did it a couple of days ago. And it's just one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like... So this movie's been in development for like a very, very long time. And I think it's probably been like they've taken... The script's changed so much that they've like taken bits of all the scripts and like made the one movie out of it. Because the movie has like 7 writers or something.
Wow.
Right,
so
okay.
when they announced this movie years ago, it was going to be like the launch of a Hanna-Barbera Warner Brothers like animated universe, and they do that, but they just do it in like the weirdest way ever. Like, so if I said to you they're making a new Scooby-Doo movie, you would expect a movie where Scooby and the gang get involved in a mystery, and then they solve that mystery, they find out who is the ghost, they unmask them, the guy calls them meddling kids, and then the guy goes to jail, and that's the end of the movie.
Yes.
That's
I mean, the trailer makes it look like Scooby-Doo
that's
Begins.
not what this neither of what I said or what you said is what this movie is.
That's so weird. Like the trailer very specifically
so
makes
like
it
the
look like
first like 5 minutes is that. So like they explain how Scooby and Shaggy met, and then they explain how Scooby and Shaggy meet the rest of the Mystery Inc. And then so like that's like the first like 10-15 minutes of the movie, and then like it cuts to like a 3D like the animation style of the movie, but like a remake of the original intro, which is like really cool. Like it's really, really cool. And I don't know, it's a girl. I don't know who did it. I wish
MXPX
I wish
again?
it had just been Simple Plan.
Damn it. I know. Did you know that MXPX did it for the live action movie? So whoever's like the music director for the Scooby-Doo franchise obviously just like
They
pure
know what they're
loves
about,
like
man.
skater tunes.
So they
Aye.
and then so like it does that, right, and then it cuts immediately to like the Scooby gang in in a restaurant, and they're talking about how they want to like make Mystery Incorporated like bigger so they can take on bigger mysteries. And they're like, oh, we have like an investor, and then like I won't say who it is, but like there's like a really like gratuitous.
Yeah, I'm gonna
really
watch this
like,
regardless.
celebrity cameo, and when I seen it, I was like,
Oh,
what
I
is
remember.
going on?
Yeah,
Like,
but-
because the
Who
first
was
like
it?
15 minutes, it's Simon Kill.
I like give. Oh, I was gonna say give folk like 10 seconds to turn off. And you're like,
I watched
"Nut."
this. Screw you. I had to go through the mental anguish of figuring out if I like this movie or not.
That's
Simon
so
Cowell was
weird.
there, and like so. See at the start, I was like, what is this Shrek style? Like, what's going on with this? But to be fair to them, like the old Scooby-Doo movies, like that's what they were. It was like Scooby-Doo and Batman, Scooby-Doo and Laurel and Hardy, and I was like, right, so
Oh,
fair
totally,
enough.
aye.
Like that is a thing, so like you can't really fault that. Simon Cowell was basically like, I want to invest in Mystery Inc., but not if Scooby and Shaggy are there because they're idiots.
Oh, what?
So like they all fall out, and then like
I cannot believe you spoiled this for me.
they all fall out, and they go and they sort of like Scooby and Shaggy go away and sulk, and then like that's when they get chased by these like robot monsters, and they get like they get saved, and like this stuff's in the trailer, so it's not spoilers. They get saved by Blue Falcon and Dynamite, who are two like really obscure Hanna-Barbera characters from like back in the day. Dynamite's voiced by Ken Jeong, and Blue Falcon's voiced by Mark Wahlberg.
Oh my god.
The cast is insane.
The cast seems killer, man.
So it introduces like, and it's so weird, man. There's like so many. This movie doesn't know who it's for. Half of this movie is for kids, and half of this movie is for like people who grew up watching Boomerang. So like Blue Falcon and Dynamite, like kids aren't gonna know who they are, and then like they have this like girl who helps them, and she's like, her character is like one of the characters from the old Captain Caveman cartoon, where like Captain Caveman hung around with three girls who are basically Charlie's Angels. She's one of those. It's so weird, man. Like, who cares? Like, like
me?
It's just
I
like,
care.
It's cool, but like, why? And then
that's like the first thing I asked you was who
and then,
is
like,
Captain Caveman.
I just can't. See, thinking about this, man, it's mental.
See, the thing is, this could be going either way, and I'm so excited for you to get to the end of this and tell me whether
So,
it's
like,
actually good or not.
They find out that so like Scooby Doo is like important to this big mystery. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but like like
yeah, don't, because I'm totally
going
to watch this.
Like it's like that, right? He's like, and then
okay.
They're like the good guys, and then the bad guy is Dick Dastardly from Wacky Races, who has. That was
all pretty much put in the trailer
like
as well. I don't know if they
like
ever quite
a second trailer, and like he's just straight up in it.
Right. Okay. Cool.
But if you go on my Twitter, right, see when the original trailer came out, I was like, "Yo, that's Dick Dastardly."
Yep.
And then they
props to you. To be fair, like 100%, you did.
That's cool. But he has these like weird robots that are just minions, like fake minions. Which is like, why?
Right.
Like, just don't. So basically, like they have to like collect these things, and like they need to get them before Dick Dastardly gets them, because he's going to open up a portal to hell. Like straight up, that's the plot. So it's like Blue Falcon and Scooby and Shaggy are like trying to collect these things, whilst the rest of the mystery gang try to figure out where Scooby and Shaggy are. And it's like this sort of race against time, and there's like a bunch of references to old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, the old Scooby-Doo characters. I won't spoil them all because it's like the best bit in the movie, seeing those characters come up. A lot of it's just like background stuff, like posters and like arcade machines and stuff like that.
That's
There's like some weirdly like adult humour in it, and then like interjected with like weird minion humour. Basically, like I did like this movie. I don't know if people who don't care about Scooby-Doo and Hanna-Barbera will particularly like this movie, because it's a total mess. Like,
aye, sounds so weird, and that's
like,
what's making me want to watch it. It's like,
I've said it to everyone who asked me about it. It's meant to be an interconnected universe, right? And it's like they've made Avengers first. Like they should have made it.
Aye.
Yeah.
That was happening a lot, you know.
A Scooby-Doo movie, and then at the end had like the stinger where like Scooby and Shaggy come home, and like I don't even know who it would be, but like someone's standing at the window, and he turns around and he's like, "Do you think that you're the only talking animal in this universe?" You're wrong. Simon Cowell turns around and he's like, "I'm here to tell you about the Hanna-Barbera initiative, bro." And like it ends something like that. Like, I don't know, but like I get it, because a lot of those characters, kids don't know who they are, so they won't care. kids know who Scooby-Doo are, but they don't know who Blue Falcon is. They don't know who Hong Kong Phooey is, or like any of those guys who I'm assuming they totally should.
They should.
I really hope it was number 1 at VOD, like on release. So
I'm guessing it's like the standard,
yeah.
like 15 odd quid.
So I'm hoping we get sequels, because I would love to see like a Wacky Races movie. Would be awesome. Like
Aye. Definitely.
WB Animation do some great stuff. They did the Lego movie. Stuff like that. Like they're kind of stepping up, man. It's a shame that like it's another universe that Warner Brothers owns that they've tried to launch and just totally like messed it up. Like, but it is what it is.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
totally,
always
like,
there's
they
always
could totally,
second
like-
chances. Wink, wink, nudge,
So,
nudge,
see
nudge,
the
nudge,
Scoob
wink.
I want
that
them
you
to
watched?
release this. Yeah. I think Chris is
I've
frozen.
watched it. See the Scoob that you watched. Was
lost.
that the original or is that the Snyder cut?
It's
You got me.
release the I want them to release the I want them to release the oh god, what's his name? Oh my god, who's the guy that directed Guardians of the Galaxy? James Gunn. I want them to release the
Gunn
James Gunn
directed
cut
that?
of the old live action Scooby-Doo movie that was like R-rated. Yeah, like I think like I hope, I would love to see more. They do. There's not a post-credit scene, but you know how like when a movie ends, they'll do like the sort of animated credits. There's like stuff in that
Yeah.
that like hints to like a more built up like universe, which is really cool.
Alright.
That's cool. Like, see, legit, like, see if it wasn't 15 quid,
Aye.
I'd have went like straight after this and watched that. Like, it just, I know it sounds messy and
It's
stuff,
like
but
it
it
is.
sounds
It genuinely
fun,
is. Like you can tell that it's been like a victim of like folk have been like, "What is this movie? Like, what are we gonna do with it?" But like, you know, like if you like Scooby Doo, like it's some Scooby Doo. Yeah.
man. Great. That was a trip hearing
It's
all
like-
about that. I
It
enjoyed
probably
that.
sounds when I'm trying to like describe it, it probably sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. But like, watch the movie and you'll be like, right, okay, because it's like.
Aye.
It
Some
is,
movies are
and,
just
like, see,
chaos,
if you
man.
like it starts and it doesn't stop until it ends. Like it's just like total madness. But I didn't get to say what I liked it. I liked this movie. Yeah, that's kind of all I can say. Like
Cool.
without like, right, 2 seconds.
What
I'm
else
just
have you
gonna
got for
swap,
us?
my headphones back over because my phone's running out.
Yeah, no bother. This is definitely our longest episode by a mile. I'm sitting at like an hour 40 now. Folk are probably bored.
Hello. Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Hello?
Right, so the third movie I watched this week was a documentary.
Let's have it.
No, let's
Oh,
just skip
man.
this one.
Right, yeah.
One that me and Chris watched, and I watched off of Chris's recommendation. So, Chris, I think you're sacked from the podcast. To be perfectly honest,
I
'cause
don't particularly remember saying it was good.
my God,
I said
You
it was
yeah,
a wee bit
totally
scary
did.
at the start.
Like,
see, to be fair, right, like, see the first, like, 20 minutes, like, I was, like, into it, but,
Aye.
hold on, right, I'll say what it is. So this documentary came up on Prime. Chris watched it.
Did.
It's called The Hat Man, and it's got, like, a
Yes.
subtitle, it's, like,
Revenge of the Sith or something.
it's, like, it's,
The
like,
Last Jedi.
it's like cases of undeniable evil or some crap like that. So this movie's like about do you know how like when people have it's hard to describe it because I can describe what it is, but that's not what they claim it to be. So this movie is like when people have, if you've ever seen the documentary The Nightmare, which is about sleep paralysis, people claim to see things like the famous ones like the old hag and stuff like that. Like figures that they see standing at the end of their bed when they have sleep paralysis.
Everyone sees the same figures type thing, so they've all got
everyone sees the same
looks.
Figure. Like the old hag is one of them, and another one is the Hat Man, and it's a tall guy who's all black. You can't see his face, and he's wearing a hat. And when he comes towards you, and then like kind of lunges at you, you wake up. And this movie is all about people who've experienced this, but the movie doesn't look at it from like a scientific point of view. It looks at it as if from the fact that it's purely paranormal. There's no explanation to it, and treats it as if everything these people are saying is 100% fact.
They also kind of like don't even really mention the sleep paralysis part. They're just like,
no. Well, like they tried to actively disprove it.
There's just like, I went into checking my baby and the Hat Man was just standing beside my baby and stuff like that. Like,
so it's.
See, for what it's worth, whenever you say the Hat Man, I think of Fred Durst in the Rolling video.
Like,
think of Spider-Man Noir from the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So like.
Right. Okay.
A documentary, right? A good documentary. Every documentary is biased. Every documentary paints someone as the villain, someone as a good guy. It's the only way you can make a documentary interesting. Like Tiger King paints Joe Exotic as a sympathetic character when I don't really think they should.
No.
No.
But it's also like a super interesting documentary. So, and like it was like a major thing. This movie doesn't look at any of this stuff from a skeptical point of view. So, like, we all love horror movies, and I would say that I have like an interest in like paranormal things. Like, as much as I think they're all terrible, like I love like ghost hunting TV shows and stuff like that. Because like a lot of the stuff you can watch, and then you watch it, and you're like, you can tell how it's fake. You can tell how they faked it. But if you ever watch something where like you couldn't prove or you couldn't figure out how they've done it, it would be really interesting. And that's why I like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone made a documentary about ghosts and were like, here's a bunch of footage of ghosts, and here's folk who believe in it, and here's a bunch of skeptics disproving it. Let's talk about the pros and cons of each side. That would be super interesting. If this documentary had been, here's the Hat Man, here's what people think it is, here's what it probably is, here's how, let's explain how all of these people can claim to see the same figure. That would be really cool, but that's not what this movie is. This movie is like a bunch of people being like, I seen the Hat Man, and the Hat Man is a demon, and he's also the devil.
He's also Slender Man.
He's also Slender Man. They talk about Slender Man as if Slender Man's real, when people know Slender Man is fake. Parts of the movie are like this one woman on a face cam, and this guy's interviewing her, and she's like, and the guy like lists off all these movie characters who look vastly different. He's like, oh, people say he looks like Slender Man, people say he looks like the Crooked Man from The Conjuring, people say he looks like an old-fashioned detective, and she's just like, yep, he looks like all of those. Like, and there's like, so like the interview folk, and it cuts back, and you can tell these people are making up what they're saying, like on the spot. Like they're just rambling, and it sounds like a weird thing to get like annoyed at, but like when I was watching it, I was like,
totally doesn't.
I just couldn't believe it existed. Like I couldn't believe that like they could claim that this is a documentary. Do you know what I mean? Like there's like a woman who comes up, and she's like, it comes up in her name, whatever her name was, and it's like author, researcher. Doesn't tell you what she's the author of, doesn't tell you what she researches, and then she's like, I think the Hat Man's is a genie. And then she's like, but also he's an alien. And then the aliens, and then there's a guy who starts talking about like reptiles. And a guy keeps talking about the Undertaker from WWE. It's like, yeah.
The real Hat Man.
Like, I wish I could go.
God
I watched
damn
this with
it.
my friend Rebecca, and I wish I could like screenshot like the text conversation and like post it like on this podcast. Because this was
You
like,
can make it the thumbnail.
I've never, there's like bits where they're like, here's a bunch of photos people claim to have of the Hat Man, and it's like a picture of someone, and then like there's just nothing there. Like there's literally nothing there, and it's like, and then it will like show the photo again, but with like a red outline of the Hat Man. But there was nothing there. Like there was literally like nothing. It's like,
Aye.
wait, it's like, oh mate, I can't put into words.
I may down
Alright,
into
okay,
20%
I'll
battery
wrap
now.
up, but like,
Wrap up. Do not watch it.
No, it's
don't
no rush.
watch it, or do watch it and like enjoy how absolutely terrible it is.
But you should watch The Nightmare because that's a very good look at sleep paralysis.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that's so frustrating about this is that like it's so easily explainable, and they try to disprove it, but the points that they use to disprove proves that it's sleep paralysis.
Mm.
Like they list all these characters that the Hat Man looks like, and they say that like all of these characters are inspired by the Hat Man, when really the truth is that like people have just seen these movies or seen these pictures of these characters, and it's rooted in their subconscious, and then they've had sleep paralysis and pictured this thing as like attacking them. Like, and that's what it is.
Aye. I like to think that it's when folks see the Undertaker, it's
Aye,
like
no, it's
biker
not.
Undertaker.
It's like
The
Fred
dead
Durst
man.
is.
Aye. He's got like a red bandana on and
Aye.
like a big evil t-shirt.
Yeah.
And is just slowly doing leg drops to Ric Flair.
He just gets on his bike and slowly drives towards you, and then you wake up. I just like it's hard to describe, man. Like how frustrated I was watching it. There's like a bit at the end where like, because I thought it was going to be like when you're a director, you're meant to come at things from like an unbiased point of view. Like when you make documentaries, and this guy
Yeah.
obviously like just fully believed in this stuff. And at the end, there's like a kind of bit over the credits where he's like, "Here's a bunch of weird stuff and like synchronicities that like lined up with the movie." And he's like, "My family were out a drive and they seen this guy looking at a sign, and the guy has like a black shirt on and a hat." And he's like, "I'm not saying this is the Hat Man, but that's weird, isn't it?" And you're like, "What? It's just a dude wearing a hat." Like, it's a lot of stuff like that.
I mean, by definition, he
guess
is
so.
very
Yeah.
much a hat man.
It's the one thing they didn't lie about in the entire documentary. That guy certainly was a Hat Man. Right, okay,
Hey,
I'll
I'm
stop
getting
talking about
battery
it because I'm
warnings
just going to
here.
get more angry. But
Good. Hey, we're nearly at 2
don't watch
hours
that
here.
movie, or do watch that movie and then tell me about it if you did watch it. Because I will talk to you about it forever. Thank you.
We're gonna hit this main
Yeah, let's do
film. Can I just give a quick shout out
Aye,
to the
let's go
Tenet
check that
trailer
out.
because it looks amazing. And then at the end it just comes up in capital letters "coming to theatres" as if it's like a
Theatres was
threat
spelt wrong.
of like,
On the original trailer, theatres was spelt wrong.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh, was it? It's like, this is coming to theatres whether you like it or
Yeah,
not.
Christopher
Go
Christopher
outside.
Nolan seems
Like,
to really
you know what I
the
mean?
world that cinemas aren't open right now. It's kind of weird.
Aye.
Um,
Yeah, movie looks
right, so
really cool.
let's talk about the last
The Lovebirds.
Netflix's original movie, The Lovebirds. Came out I think last week. It was like #1 streaming.
I think this was meant to
I have
come
no
out in the
idea.
cinema, was
I
it
genuinely
not?
have no idea.
And then it get moved to Netflix. I feel like I saw a
Um,
trailer for this somewhere in the cinema, but maybe
It's
Maybe
directed
I've
by Michael
projected
Showalter,
it.
who did some good movies. He did Wet Hot American Summer and the following 17,000 Netflix TV shows made around it. And another really good movie that not a lot of people talk about, which is like a spoof of romantic comedies called They Came Together. It's got Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler in it. It's really good. And I think, for me personally, this was another great one from him.
I thought it was well funny, aye.
Chris didn't particularly enjoy it.
Yeah, really funny.
I don't know, just nothing really landed with me. There was one scene that had a few chuckles at when there was like chanting going on and they were mistiming the chantings, but like, I don't know, just didn't really hit with me. I didn't really understand the joke at the end either, but they're at a race and then they see horses. Is that because he got booted by a horse?
Aye.
Right.
And they talk through the whole start scene of the movies, them arguing about whether they would win the Amazing Race or not.
Well, it wasn't for me, I'm afraid.
Did we watch the same movie? See that bit at the end where they reference a main plot point? What was that all about?
I don't know. Anyway, I'll let you talk about this because I wasn't a fan of it.
I don't want to. It's like a romantic comedy, so there's not a lot to talk about. I don't want to give too much away. I'm not going to spoil the jokes.
There's not a whole lot of
the plot line
analysis.
is this couple like effectively like break up on the way to a party, and then like also on the way to that party get involved in like a murder mystery kind of thing, and they get framed for the murder, and they have to spend the rest of the night sort of proving their innocence with a lot of wacky hijinks and stuff. It's weird because you would expect a lot of like slapstick humour from a movie like this, but I kind of thought it was more like a lot of the dialogue.
Yeah, that's all my notes are based around the
I just thought
dialogue.
it was like really sharp.
It's
A
great.
lot of it was quite like realistic to how I think like an actual couple would like argue and like and talk and stuff like that, which is cool. You don't see that a lot in rom-coms. I really like. I've been a fan of Kumail Nanjiani, who plays like the main character in it. I've liked him for a while. He's been in some like great stuff.
Aye.
The boy is jacked. He's in the new upcoming Eternals Marvel movie.
Yeah, he's been on that sauce.
I don't think they like try and hide it, but like they actively don't make a lot of reference to it in the movie. But like you can tell at parts that like he's like absolutely shredded.
Do you notice he added in a nervous tick where he like pulls his jumper down over himself to like take your attention away from how jacked he is?
But that's
He does it like constantly throughout the movie. He like stretches his jumper down over himself so you can't see
class.
that he's on his way to Jack City. I loved the bit where they break into the apartment.
Just a lot of it is like that thing where like they set up the bit at the start and then the bit at the end. Like a lot of it is like that. Like it's a lot of like they'll kind of mention a little thing and then they sort of pay it off like way later in the movie, which is really cool.
Yeah. I just thought it seemed a suitable thing to sort of highlight in a fairly positive light, at least for most of us, when a lot of us are looking for stuff to watch with our other half or whatever. It's a pretty spot on movie for that sort of occasion. Also,
romantic comedy where the two main characters aren't white people is rare. Two really funny. The girl whose name I don't remember. Sorry, is like I don't think I've seen her in a lot of stuff.
I didn't recognise her.
She was really.
I didn't recognise
really
her
good.
at all.
I really liked her. It's just like we said, there's not a lot to say without just quoting jokes at you, but like definitely want to check out if you're in the mood for like a kind of romantic comedy that you've not seen before. It's also like a little bit different. Cool.
Yeah,
I think that's all I've got to say on it. Yeah.
Well, that does. I just wanted to say it's super cool that folk are actually listening to these. I didn't really
folk
expect
are
it, to
listening.
be honest. So we don't get listening figures yet, but the amount of people
Who's
that
out
have
there
spoke to me
listening?
about it and messaged
If
me
you're
and
from
stuff
another
are
country,
very encouraging.
DMs on
Yeah.
Yeah. Can find
It shows
Chris
me
Balangoli on Twitter.
statistics on Podbean, but like not on Spotify. So, I mean, I don't know how many people are out there using Podbean to listen to podcasts. Yeah, but
Literally
like,
nobody.
yeah, if you've been listening, thank you very much. If you're a listener from back in the film show days,
fair play to
I'm
you.
sorry.
Aye, I've been getting chased up for new episodes,
I don't
which I
wanna,
didn't expect.
like
So-
like obviously during this we could obviously like pure sweat them out if we wanted to, but once the world goes back to normal, like this is going to be the release schedule because we all have lives that we have to live. So I don't want to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I don't want to like give
Somewhat
people loads of
erratic.
content and then take it all away. Seems like a really bad idea. So
Yeah.
hopefully they're long enough and of high enough quality that you're happy to wait for new episodes.
Aye.
Yes.
I'm gonna
You guys want to go play
get
Warzone
my
right now?
government sanctioned daily walk in and then I'll play with you.
Oh, I'm gonna go get my Kelly pie first. You know.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.